just wanna be free with my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. 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 Can't you see? I just wanna be free.
Okay. Another episode of the Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. I'm your host, Camille Smith. Welcome, y'all. So, as you can see, this is going to be a premiere. It's like how I promised you last week, but it's happening this week. But it's all good. Before I start anything, I just realized I completely missed March break for us Canadian folks, right? My bad. So it's gonna be March 22nd when this comes out, so it's gonna be springtime. And I thought with having a lovely guest on here today, finally I'm bringing back guests and things. And we have to give her a shout out. Mel, welcome. Poop, 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 poop. So, if anyone knows, what did I start this? I started this in 2020. And Mel, in June 2020, you had a podcast
Yes.
and y'all were praising me and stuff. And I have to give you your flowers. Hold on. I have to thank you so much for encouraging me to start a podcast. Right? Big up yourself, you, Tasha, and refresh my memory. You're not gonna help me refresh my the podcast that you had, ma'am. It's
I
all
don't I
good.
don't know. I don't know who you're like.
There was three of Uno.
Oh, Tess. Oh my
Eh,
God. I'm so sorry. Honestly, I yes, we started
yes.
off with me, Tasha, and Tess. And definitely it was actually Tess and Tasha were the ones
Mhm.
that put me on their
Wow.
show because I'm used to being on radio, as you know, and I like
Yes.
to be behind the scenes. I don't really like to be seen while I'm talking because I have a lot of hand gestures. My facial expressions can go, a little wild sometimes. So I never really thought I was someone that could be on camera. So
Mhm.
yeah, so sorry. I
No worries. No worries. I was like, I know you're not gonna leave me hanging. But no, I really appreciate you. And yeah, don't worry, I do the same thing with the hands gesture. So it's gonna be really engaging conversation. But as you mentioned to the folks, and I mentioned them, tell the folks who you is.
wow. But I do, before I tell myself, I do want to say I'm proud of you. I love when I encourage somebody and I can see someone start it from the mustard seed and then grow it
Mm.
to something, and you're being consistent. Look at this. This is professional. I thought we were like, you know what I mean? Like you're doing your thing and you're pushing through, and I just also want to say, like, I'm proud of you. So you go, girl.
Thank you,
So,
thank you.
but
And wait,
hmm?
how are we gonna start? Sorry, I did ask you to talk about yourself. However, before you talk about yourself, this is going to be more focused. We're gonna be talking about finances and stuff, but I also want to give another flowers is I was honored enough to be there for your mom when you were going through your journey, and I also when my journey was happening, you were there for me. You still owe me a walk.
You don't see the weather's
Yes,
getting better now. It's getting
I know. And look how it's dark now.
it's
Two
okay.
seconds ago, it was bright.
We do still need the walk. Like I do need to like get on the ball with that. Like I need to get on.
Right?
Yes.
I'm not trying to call you out, but I'm calling you out because I also have to do the walk as well, right?
Yes.
So I really want to give you the flowers for that, and the fact that you're what we're going to be talking about, like being a caregiver and starting a franchise about it, it's amazing that you're going down this road. Me no say me couldn't do it, so.
I think it's more about mindset. And I think sometimes,
Mm,
I think in our community, we have this concept of lack. And I think we always think that we put money into things that we want to do. However, there's ways without having money for you to be
mhm.
able to live your dreams. I think we just don't look into those spaces. So we kind of
Yeah,
push ourselves back. Not saying that, everything is for everyone, but I just noticed even with myself,
yeah,
that's how I think. And it's like, why do I keep on thinking like this? This is wild. Like there's so many companies that will offer business loans. If you have a great business plan, you can get grants, you can get a lot of things to live your dream.
yeah.
There's also now a lot of companies that want to like finance certain things like this. So you just never know, right? And I just say
So
like, don't ever say never, because it was a never for me.
true. And that's growth, right? That just shows you how much growth that you've occurred in the last couple years. So big
Right.
up yourself.
Thank you.
Boy.
Thank you. And I do appreciate you also for being there for my mom. And I think a lot of people don't understand when you're in the caregiver journey, the friends that you think that are going to actually be there to support you are actually few and far. They're few. And it's interesting how you start developing new relationships with new friendships, and
Yes.
you get that support, emotionally support from that person. And it's a beautiful thing, I think, right? Like we have to embrace it all in that part of the caregiving, just allowing other people into your space, allowing people to show you that love. Because again, you can't be, we're not superwoman, like I told you earlier, right?
Yeah, took it right out of my head. We're not superwomen.
But can
And
I let just talk about myself though? Like, because you
yeah.
didn't. The flowers were beautiful. I think that was a beautiful, segue, so that we know that as women, we are here to support each other and we show each other love.
Absolutely.
So that is a nice intro. But I guess that's a good intro for me because, you know what I mean? I'm all about that love. No joking. But Melizia, honestly, I am. I'm a former radio
Yeah,
host.
you're kidding.
I'm a former radio host. I've been on the radios for 18 years. I
Mm.
graduated from York with a degree, two degrees, communication and sociology. I'm a public servant. I've been a public servant for about 18 years now.
Jeez.
I'm a farm owner. I own a farm in Ghana with my brother, so we share it. It's under Mensa Enterprises, and we have one here, and then Mensa Enterprises in Ghana. And
Mhm.
my new venture is I've become a franchise owner as my brother, as my partner, and we have another partner named Collins, and we are taking care of the Toronto downtown east right now. So that's
Yes.
me. That's me. So I'm your bougie ratchet about my kind of girl. There's really I can live in any kind of world, and I find
Mm.
that I enjoy life best I can.
You want to know? Oh man, can I say it here?
Sh-
You give me so much inspiration when I see your stories, and for the longest time, there's one thing that I've wanted because you have it too, and I'm like, I just want to be that cool accountant,
with the girls, you like the
but
girls?
with girls. I just want to do it. I don't know why. I just want to do it. But no, like Shooks, you have a lot. You have a lot on your plate, fam. How
Yes.
how how do you do it?
Managing your time is scheduling. I think that's the only thing you can say. Like I think
Mhm.
that um oh my gosh, and I'm also a managing director for Sisters in Solidarity.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh my gosh. And we just finished our cohort
Mhm.
for our business accelerator program that was funded by the Canadian Women's Foundation. So, yeah, anyway, back to that. It's just definitely scheduling. Like, I think that
Mhm.
if you don't have a schedule and you don't put things down, you're going to waste a lot of time and you're not going to sleep. So how I manage
Facts.
my time is
Mhm.
making sure I schedule everything and making sure that I don't overexert myself. Like
Mhm.
if it's one day, just if I'm working one day with Sisters in Solidarity, that's what I'm doing for the day.
Yeah.
I don't I don't overdo
Exert
it.
yourself.
No.
Okay, that's true. And then you also have a partnership with your brother, so that's really a true testament of, the teamwork makes the dream work, and you guys
Yes.
both have that same purpose and why. Um, I mean, when it came to your parents, so what? Well, I know like the commitment, obviously, because it's our parents. Like
Mhm.
we got to do that, and your culture. I know big up being from Ghana and things, or Ghanaian culture upbringing. So that's like one thing of being committed to helping others. Was it your parents that helped you shape that way, or did it just come naturally as you grew
I think both
to
of
be
my
helpful?
parents both of my parents were actually entrepreneurs. Um,
Okay,
yes,
nice.
my dad, like they had regular jobs, but on the weekends, my dad used to, remember, I don't know if you know, you're from the East, but we used to, Jane Finch Mall, they used to have,
Cheers.
on the weekends or the Sundays, they'd have a flea market, and my dad would
Yeah.
electronics and things like that. And then the same for my mom. She used to work on the weekend. She had her own business where she would sell bed sheets, beddings, and things like that. So I think that was part of it, as to
Mhm.
what shaped me, because I seen that. But our parents are really focused on education and making sure you go to university, make sure you have I think when they came, they had that idea of like, you you're going to get the great job after after you graduate. And
The
I followed,
typical.
followed the rules. And what what was a grace for me and my brother was we got them older, right?
Mm,
They started realizing, oh my gosh, I'm working so hard for this job and I'm
yeah.
really getting nothing out of it and I'm tired. So they really just started, my dad started slowly pushing the farm on me, like slowly, hey
Okay.
now, the farm, go here. So I would go to the farm. I would, get to know that. I think my first time on the farm, I was 20 something years old. I started to see
Golly.
like a little bit of benefits. And he kept on saying, money's back home. Make sure you take this. And I think with all of that, and then dealing with my parents and what they were dealing with and how my employers dealt with me,
Hmm.
shifted my thought of how I want to get out of the 9 to 5 and switch and do something else, right? Because it started 2021. Well, my dad had his stroke at
Hmm.
2018, but he was in Ghana, so he wasn't
Okay.
able to come back home because there was blood in his brain, and they were saying because of the altitude and the distance, it wouldn't be safe.
Shucks. Yeah.
So we waited, then COVID happened. So we're like, oh shoot, what are we gonna do? And then
Hmm.
like, it was lockdown, but even during that time, near like then they were like, okay, now you guys can come and get him. I think that was like the end of 2020 or early 2020. So my mom said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go get him.
Mm.
But then she fell sick. Right?
Life is lifing, eh?
So then she felt sick. So we're talking on the phone and we're like, okay, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And at this point, my dad, obviously he's had the stroke now, so now we've had access to his bank card, but that
Yeah.
was just to be able to transfer money to him, like his pension, and send it back to
Mm.
him. But we didn't have authorization on his bank account. We didn't know if he had life insurance. We didn't know nothing. Like we would see insurance on his thing, but we weren't sure
Where?
what was that. And then because he used another address, he wasn't getting his full pension. He was only getting his pension and not his old age. So now in Ghana, it's not like here. You
Yeah.
gotta pay for everything down to the band-aid that you have on your body. Okay? They do not play.
Not the
Okay,
band-aid.
bro. A doctor's note, they're gonna charge you 500 Ghana cities for it, bro.
Wait,
Yes,
wait, wait. You have to convert it. You have to convert it.
50 bucks, 50, like, because
But
what?
still, each
That's
time?
for a little
Yeah.
doctor bill. So I was like, oh no. So then I remember I spoke to, and my mom fell ill. So I spoke to my manager, and she was just like, oh my God, It was senior manager, sorry, at the time. Oh my God,
Yeah.
did you know that you had parental leave? And I said, I didn't know that that was an option. So I went into it and I looked. So she had given me the form, but it took me a long time to do it because I was like, money not there for them things, and I was saving that COVID money for other stuff. Like I had the savings, but it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
So I applied for it months later because I realized it was a situation where I just had to, like, something got to give, right? And they
Yes.
denied me. hmm They denied me. So imagine having both parents sick. You have to try to do something. They give you an option, but then they didn't.
Why did you suggest it to me? Why did you
That's
suggest it?
I don't know. I don't know where they thought. Like maybe they thought Toronto. It's summer. It was getting to the spring. Maybe they thought I was trying to enjoy, but the city was locked down. You couldn't do nothing. So I don't understand where this came from. So I was denied. And I remember I was with one of my friends. It was actually 420. And he
Mm.
was just like, you know what, Mal? Like, you just have to have faith. Tell
Yeah.
them that you're gonna go and you're gonna go unpaid. That right? And
Deuces.
pretty much. And when my mom I took my mom to her doctor's appointment and her stomach
Mhm.
wasn't really well, but she was still adamant for me to go and get him because the doctors had said it's ready for him to go. So everything kind of aligned where it was supposed to. But girl,
Yeah.
this is where finances is very important. I'm lucky I had a savings. If I
Yes.
didn't, I get there now.
Yeah.
I get to Ghana. I get to check where my dad's house. Can't find his passport. Can't find his health card. Can't find his Canadian citizenship card. Nothing to be found. So a trip that was supposed to be a couple of weeks
Easy breezy.
turned out being 6 months. Now,
Golly.
and imagine, and then coming back, because then while I was there during that time, my mom also got diagnosed with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Golly.
when he came back with me, he had to
Mm-hmm.
live with me because my brother was living with my mother. So that's how we divided the parental thing. So now I'm already in the hole. My credit done, mess up, everything done, but I'm done. Okay, still have this elderly person here who prefers something very, like, he's very specific. You know how it is, and that's when I think it was when I came back and I looked at my bank account with no
Mm-hmm.
money and just looking at the lack of support I received. That's when
Yeah.
I got that total.
Switch over.
And I think I also decided to look up what I was going to receive when I retire.
Mm.
So, they give you your prediction and they tell you
Yeah.
how much it's going to be.
This is the pension that you're gonna receive.
Right. Right.
At least each year it does increase.
By a 1%. See inflation. See the way the world's going in 10 years, like, because I can retire at 50 something, I think.
Golly.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with you know who and wants us to be 51 state.
right. And then
Madness.
you start thinking about your life, because I was just like, wow, like I wish reality hit me at a younger age so that I could have been more prepared for things like
Yes.
this. Right.
Yes. And I mean, like, even with all the setbacks that you had, does it, and this is like a extra thing that I thought, does this make you think about how to prepare yourself for those situations?
Hell to the yeah. I'm looking at I already got an additional life insurance.
Okay,
Included
nice,
in that life
nice.
insurance, I got critical illness, and I made sure I got something else. I forget the other thing, but I also got that life insurance where you can pull out, obvious if what
Oh yeah, the cash value,
I don't know,
and do like
but
infinite banking. That's what
like
a lot of people say.
whatever,
I'm
whatever.
not. And remember, folks, this is
And I
educational
mean,
purposes only.
yes, you know what? Before I came on here, I should have got exactly what I received, but I didn't even know they check your credit. It was anyway. I've decided to do that.
Mhm.
For my father, I
Nice.
have already purchased a cemetery plot for him prior. So just to
Mm,
be
mm.
sure. And the thing about these funeral homes, people don't realize is the cemetery areas, you can actually do it monthly. Like you do not have to pay for your cemetery plot right away. So you put a down payment.
Must be nice. Not the place that my mom is.
What I was
They wanted it right there and then.
no, 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 no. But that was when she's already passed. My dad hasn't passed yet. So
No, I mean,
this
yeah, for my dad and my grandma.
they said no for monthly.
They wanted it right there and then.
Oh,
I was like,
that's ghetto. They not the one that I went to, and it's in Mississauga. Like they're phenomenal. I think August I finished paying for his cemetery plot. It's been 2 years.
yeah,
Boom.
golly.
Right.
Um,
That's one expense gone. And I think that
mhm.
with that, like you could
That
do
peace of mind.
it's a scary conversation because obviously you don't want your parent to die. But
Mhm.
then when it's time and chaos, and some of our parents are not getting that much money from their pension,
Mhm.
there really isn't much you can do. Instead of the best thing you do is plan ahead. Now, even that, like, made sure I have authorization on my dad's
Oh,
banking. Me and my brother have authorization.
good.
I became power of attorney
Mhm.
because
When trust me.
and the next is the will, right? So
Yeah,
um
nice. I know the will is the hardest one for us to always talk about. Um, but
yeah.
it's needed, obviously, right? And nothing makes it worse than the day comes when God, rings us for that day and you don't have your ducks in order and stuff. But at least you're being proactive, and I'm so happy that you're getting things in order because the last 5 years we've all experienced something where it's like,
And you
and the
honestly
GoFundMe's. Ugh.
A- and don't get me wrong, like I do believe that some people do require the help, but I also believe in our community. It's like what I realize is our Ghanaian culture is not the same
Mhm,
as other Caribbean culture. Like, so when my mom passed, yes, we had the money for it, but the community
mhm.
gave it on its own. Like, we didn't have to. You get what I'm trying to
We have to,
say? Like,
we have to pause. We have to pause because that was my first type of funeral. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, I never seen so much great culture until I went there. Yes, I had a big migraine, but when I was there and I just saw the community and there were um because your mom is in the community and then they gave it to you and your brother. I was like, "Ah, this is beautiful. Look at their tribe. Look at their garments and everything." I was like,
right,
"Placide." Like
right.
I loved seeing that. The pastor was a little loud. I felt like I was he was a Jamaican pastor.
Are we all the same? Are we the same? Just we just
Yeah, I was like, why is he? I'm like, to Mel, Mel, why is he shouting right now? I have a migraine.
he wanted everybody to just want everyone to go into Christ.
But you're right about community. Please continue. Like
Right.
I loved that feeling.
Right. Like I feel like with that, like we wouldn't really have to worry about a GoFundMe. But
Mm,
again, you still kind of have to have your ducks in order because you're gonna get your money after,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
that can be able to pay for because I can tell you like the Ghanaian community was so supportive when my mom passed. Like we got a good sum. But granted, my mom was a person who planned in advance and she did everything that she had to do. So we weren't like we didn't have to stress about that. Like, we're
That's
looking at, you know what I mean? We're looking at prices. We're like, just charge it. My mom would have liked that. That's her. Good for you. Good for you. And then, I moved down to my dad now. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm seeing this insurance. And finally, when I got access to it, you know what
Mm.
it was? You know what insurance it was? It was for Visa. It wasn't no life insurance, okay? I was
But
pissed,
you want to know what? My mom had life insurance, um, credit card insurance too. And I remember like it was like the January. She's like, "Yo, if anything happened to me, don't trouble this one, eh? Because they're gonna take care of it." I was like, "Huh?" I was like, "They'll take care of it. You don't even have to worry about that one." I'm like, Okay," which is true, which is true. But
right? So
oh,
now
insurance
I'm like,
tricking you and stuff.
right? So I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? He
Yeah,
is he's not gonna get a cheap price. Like he's had how many strokes, right? So I
yeah.
had to have that conversation with him. And I remember I was telling him, like, yo, we gotta get some life insurance. He's like, he was quiet. He's like, hey, Amadua, you want me to die? You think I'm gonna die? I'm not gonna die today. I'm not gonna die. And I was like, the old me would have been like, okay, do you, and then struggle if something were to happen in the end. And I said,
Hmm.
we are not going to do this. And I had to, these are the conversations where I was like, this is not going to happen. This is what you're going to be doing. And this is
Yeah.
what you're going to be doing it. And there's
Hmm.
no other option. This is the day of your Zoom
And
meet.
he listened, eh?
He listened and he got
Nice.
approved.
Good.
And that is one thing. If he don't got it, that is one thing I would
Yeah.
pay for out of pocket. It's expensive.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not like the regular $100 that
No, I trust me. My dad has his too, and I'm looking. I was like, well, let me look through these things again. And I think, you know what? I understand the concept with like life insurance back in the day, because I even look at my grandma's. She got one like in
they got,
the
yeah,
90s,
horrible,
and it
horrible
was
option.
trash.
Mhm.
It was trash.
And now they're old, they can't change it because
And
you
so the now I ideally I do understand for like the older generation not thinking about life insurance, but my mom got mine before I went to Korea, so like 11 years ago or so. And I was talking about that. I was like, so what? You want me to dead off when I'm in Korea? She's like, well, at least if you dead off in Korea, I have something to ship you back home. I was like, well, damn. And that was the time when she like set up for everyone to get life insurance. And that was a perfect time. But like our generation, I'm sorry. There's no reason why we shouldn't, because we've faced this type of situation.
all the time. And you'd be surprised how many of us of our age group that don't have it. And honestly,
And it hurts.
and I right, and then you can say I have it through my work, right? But anything could happen at your job at any time. Like, look at how my parents got sick and I had to go unpaid. How about if I had to keep on staying there? Then I quit my job and then I
Mhm.
lose all that
Lose
money
all that.
because I'm not 20 years of service, right? So those are the
Mm,
kind of things you got to think about, especially because now everything that's happening is very unpredictable.
correct.
Right. And I'm not trying to do like a life insurance commercial. I just want to make sure that,
No, 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 it's cool.
you have to like prep. And it's very
Yeah.
important because a lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Even for me, being a government employee, I thought I was gonna get my full pension. I mean, if I left, I would get my
Mhm.
18 weeks of severance pay, so at least that could cover me. But apparently, with the last, you
No, you
know,
see the fine lines in the
9
agreements.
months, and now they're saying that because of whatever happened during that
Mhm.
time, I only get 3 weeks. And anybody that came 2 years after me, they get no severance pay. So again,
That's what. And you've been in
yeah,
the service for 18 years?
yes. And I only get 3 weeks.
Oh,
So,
Canada.
right. So I feel like at our age, there's a lot of things we have to look into that I feel like um our community focuses on like spoken word, but not actually reading the fine details. And I
Yeah.
think when we get older, those are the things that we need to prep us in the future. So
Damn.
yeah,
And you know what? It's funny that you say that because you're in the 9 to 5 for 18 years and you're
mhm.
now seeing the uncertainty with pension and or severance if that was to happen. I'm so happy that you structured yourself to include different income streams into your life because
Yeah.
this economy is kind of wild. I've been looking at the stock market and every day I'm like, yo, fam, I literally threw up the other day when my one of my stocks went down 46%. I was like,
You got to keep that faith. You got to
I
keep
was
it.
like, oh, I was like, this hurts, but it's cool. I'm still winning because I got it at a great price, but it
Right.
kind of hurts still. But even having like different income streams, um, what not the family farm because that one I understand. That's a family thing.
It's not a family farm at all. I'm gonna be
Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna be straight up. I
Oh,
paid for that, sis. Don't
oh.
don't play with me. Do not play with me, girl.
One, but it's with you and your brother,
With yes. So
so it's a family farm.
we split the cost. We split the cost. So I thought you meant like so it just someone just handed the farm and I didn't have
No, 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 no. As it's like let me get things clear.
yes, my brother is my partner, forever
Yeah.
partner.
So
Yes.
it's like a family enterprise that you guys
Yes.
are forming together, and
Yes.
that's beautiful. I wish
Because
that's another story, but
who else if you cannot generate a legacy for your name with your family, who else can you do it with? You get what I'm trying to say? Like
I'm hearing you loud and
this
clear. I
is
totally
this
understand.
right? Like I feel like with my brother and I,
Mhm.
with this, like we're seeing the things that our parents did do, and we're
Yes.
trying to build on that and make
Mhm.
that legacy be better. Like that's the reason why our parents came here in the first place, right? So it's kind of
Exactly.
like as siblings, that's the best way to go. And I feel like a lot of us say we want to do these things with our siblings, but I'm noticing that the egos are so high that nobody can get along with each other. And I'm telling you, like, to be able to grow financially with a family member, everybody has to let their ego go. You are not going to succeed and you're not going to grow if everybody feels like they're a leader. It's not going to happen. If somebody is younger,
Yo.
that person is younger, they're gonna have facts. And honestly, my brother had to tell me straight up, like, yo, like you're negative sometimes. Like, and you keep on forgetting that you have like your parents' thoughts when it comes to, doing something that's out of the box. Like, like I didn't realize subconsciously those type of things. So like how I was treating him or how I was talking to him,
Mhm.
it wasn't right. So you have to
Mm.
be able to have again,
To
just like
check
a
is
caregiver, you have to have those hard conversations, but with your siblings you have to be able to have those hard conversations and still be able to talk to each other a couple of days or a day later. Like you can't, and we fight all the time. and and no one will know. like
But when
but
I see your stories, I was like, yo, I wish I had that type of relationship, fam.
but I have a saying, leave the ego out the door because it's not here. If you're trying to make money, it ain't gonna happen. Look at her
I had
face.
to write that one. I had to write that one.
Because I just feel like our
At the door?
community
Out the door? At the door?
at the door. Don't come in with that.
Mm.
And I feel like our community, I feel like if we worked together more as a family unit, I feel we would be excelling hard if we put our dollars together. And I strongly, that's something I'm gonna say, like even with caregiving, your
Yes.
family has to have that conversation too about what is going to happen. Because the government can provide you with the certain amount of hours for your PSWs, and then that's why just like family is here, is that you're going to have to pay somebody else to give you that extra time. And what are you going to do if you don't have that extra money?
Golly. And I'm glad we're this conversation.
It's very serious. Like
It's
I know
serious
people
and triggering, but I love what you're saying right now. Like absolutely.
right?
Like
Because like there was times when the PS like we when my mom passed, we were very well. For my father, it was literally just me. Okay,
mhm,
and just me. And the only time, like my brother was, because remember my brother had my mom. The only time I would need my brother to come because it was during the COVID times. We had
yeah.
to go to the office once a week, and I couldn't
Mm,
leave my dad alone.
correct.
So he would come for those hours just to make sure that he got his meals and make sure he's okay. But in general,
It was just you. Golly. So and then I know with everything that's happened, when did the transition to starting this franchise come into play?
you know what's interesting? I do interviews for a nonprofit organization called SETSI, and so I interview like organizations who are like into social finance, and do interviews like affordable housing. And I actually interviewed the CEO a year ago.
Mm.
Right, I interviewed her just talking about her having a social enterprise, and I can guarantee you, not even mine. I was like, oh wow, that's a great concept. Oh my god, I was just writing it, but it didn't even sink into my brain that can say, hey, you could
Mm.
do this too. And then I think one day I got a call from my brother because I guess he was in a session with the same social finance, and he
Mm.
messaged somebody and he said, hey, like how do I get involved with this? And the guy
Yeah.
was like, our Victor Bosele was like, you want to do this? All right. He put my brother on the phone with the CEO right away, and he explained his story, just
Mm.
talking about being a caregiver for my mom. And he realized that this franchise would be something that, he would be interested in. And she's like, listen, I'm willing to talk to you.
Dang.
So my brother called me,
Mhm.
like, Ma, we're buying a franchise. I was like,
Oh well.
yeah,
This, oh, this is what we're doing, huh?
yeah, like I was just like,
Okay.
okay.
Golly.
So that's literally how everything turned around. And it was crazy because while I was watching my mom and my dad, and I was like, yo, if we had that extra pool of money,
Mm.
we could have been able to have a PSW come in sometime,
Yeah.
and I could have actually had a little bit of a breather, and that
That's
kept
so
on running.
important.
It kept on
Oh,
running on my mind. Like, but even just like just having compassionate care, like how much conversation can me and someone have where and I'm being your mother, like, because now the roles have changed. You're their parent, right? And it causes
twice a child, once an adult.
girl, and it can cause friction. That person can tell you about your parts. Okay, that person could have possibly caused you trauma prior. Now you're tackling that. So things, and then you're in a place where it's like you've grown and you've evolved, and you want your parents to say sorry. Grant, like my dad, my mom, she was perfecto, but the dad
Mm.
part, like just certain things you'd want them. It's never gonna happen, right? So the dynamics in the house is not going to be the same, and to have that extra pool of money
Yeah.
to just,
Exactly.
even if it wasn't overnight, having
Hmm.
someone to be able to, because they allow you certain hours based on your free the I think it's
The credential. Is it credential or criteria? Yeah.
yeah. But even sometimes with that, like they don't do laundry and all those things. So
No wish.
right, but in my heart, that's what I'm trying to say. Like these are the type of things that I feel like that's why this organization, like owning this franchise, makes sense, is because I lived it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
right,
And just transitioning from that and your personal experiences, like it's just I'm just in awe hearing this story. I'm just
right,
here listening and like, oh my gosh, yep, I've experienced that, and like what kind of role are you what's the roles that are going to be in play when the home officially opens up, because it soon open up, right? Why?
all three all three members, all three directors have to put in the work. But in
Okay.
general, I'll be the person who goes into homes because we do in-home assessments before we
Okay.
actually decide, so that we'll be able to give you the right person. So this is
Hmm.
different than, just someone just sending any type of PSW to you. It doesn't work like that. I
Yeah.
actually have to go into the home and make sure that I'm getting that right person for whatever. Like if I know,
Okay.
the person is aggressive, they need somebody a little more direct, or if they want to be cuddled or whatever,
Mhm.
I'd be able to get that while I do the interview, and I can just assess. Like, it's
And do you
interesting.
talk to the caregiver or the family members about that, or is it
I
you?
talk to the client, like they
Oh,
are that I need to know what you want, and then we'll be able to talk to the family to decide what their assessment is.
Mel, don't tell me that, fam. Why do you gotta talk to the client? What if they don't know what they want? And this is
This is
me.
but this is this is the thing about dealing with the elderly care. Elderly,
Yes.
I think that even though they sometimes don't have the control, you have to
Hmm.
make them feel like they have some sort of control, because you are dealing with people who've lived their whole life, how many decades? Like 7 decades of being independent and doing something for themselves. And now all of a sudden, everything is taken away. And I think that we as humans are only looking at it on the outside. Mentally, we don't know what they're going through, eh? We don't know if they're going through depression. We don't know if they're sad. We don't know how they feel. We don't know if now they feel like their life is worthless. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of things that I feel like we're not taking into consideration. And granted, yes, majority of the times what we're advising them is true, but we have to have that mindset to really understand
Hmm.
they're not going to like everything you say. You
Facts.
understand what I'm saying? And but then you too also have to listen to what they want also. Not everything, because I think where I screwed up was when my dad was living with me.
Hmm.
He wanted these breakfasts that just didn't make sense. Like, but my mom would be like, "Oh, just to make him happy, just give him whatever he wants," And I feel like maybe I overdid it. I could
Yeah.
have it. I could have maybe made it a little more healthier. But I went to the doctor because I thought like it's all me. I messed up. I gave him eggs. I didn't give him enough apple. Like, and as a caregiver, there's going to be those doubts of yourself. You're going to feel
Hmm.
inadequate because, again, like you're saying, like we were talking about off air, is that
Yeah.
we think we have everything under control, but really and truly we don't, right? Like I thought I had everything under control with my dad. I literally did.
Yeah.
He did all his tests, and then just a couple of days after that, he got his final stroke where he can't walk. And I can tell you for months, I felt like I was worthless. I felt like I kept on
Mm.
going over and doing the steps. What is it that I actually did wrong? And like finally, when I had the appointment at the hospital with the stroke doctor and everyone, and they're all looking at me like, like girl, shut the hell up. They're just like, girl, shut the hell
There is
up.
nothing you could have done,
Because it was
is
so
what they're basically
small.
saying.
Yeah, pretty much they're saying
Yeah.
because he's had so many and there's been a lot of damage to the brain already. It's like
Yeah.
there's nothing that could predict this that could possibly happen. But it's kind of like this was on my time, on my
But
watch. Like I was trying to
mm,
prove a point, and I shouldn't.
mm,
Again, this is what I'm talking about ego. Why am I trying to prove a point to people that I could do something when I'm
yeah.
supposed to be of service to somebody and help them? And I'm getting offended because now it didn't work out the way I wanted.
Golly. And that's a another stage of, and we talked about this offline, is we're not perfect, but you needed that realization that there is nothing that you did or
Hmm.
could have done to prevent it, because is this,
Girl, I'd be like,
and you needed that, right? Because you're probably in bed like listening
oh,
to some Drake and things.
oh,
Just be like,
Drake makes me happy. He don't make me sad, girl. Let's
he make,
not bring Drake into that
are you
group.
saying you don't listen to his sad songs, his
Not when I'm
emo songs?
Oh,
Okay.
he makes me happy every day. But it's true. Like there was a very like, but even as a
Mhm.
caregiver, there's moments of depression too. Like I can, and
Listen.
that's another thing we can talk about finances. Is what I'm saying is that that
Yeah.
extra income for counseling, that extra income to like because now not only are you the caregiver, and again, like I was saying, like if it was just my mom, I think I'd be, but this dealing with someone like my dad and dealing with the traumas that you have when you're younger,
Mhm.
and there's no that extra, because remember now I'm at $0, so I gotta I gotta do what I gotta do, right? There's nothing, right? Like, and I couldn't leave my house, I couldn't do nothing. And my only outlet, literally, it was walking on Young Street, bawling my eyes out, and just come back and act like nothing, not go on. And I feel like, again, we're at
A
that stage,
lot of people had to deal with that.
right? And I feel like at our age, we have to think about things like that too. Like, right? So,
Shucks. Fudge. And there's so much. Oh man, I'm really enjoying this conversation because it just makes me think about so much. And even as a caregiver, but you've talked about it a little bit. You dabbled in it a little bit. What advice would you give some caregivers, or additional advice would you give caregivers on thinking about their finances? Because golly, golly bop.
I think you got to think about you're going to die today.
Mm.
And will you be happy with how your situation is placed if you're gone? And
And
I think,
wait. I hear that, but are we talking about that as a caregiver that we're gonna pass
oh, I thought
as
you
a
meant like
caregiver?
for us, like as a
No,
human.
no, no. As a caregiver, like help, like I was like, I was like, damn, we're just gonna just say, boom, caregivers. Just not saying that. I am not saying that to folks that are listening. I'm not saying that as a
What do you?
caregiver. I know how it's hard, but like, how can we, like, what are things that we can help? Like, what advice could you give someone that's a caregiver on like finances and things? Because there's a lot of expenses that I never took consideration.
Yeah,
The most disrespect that I ever seen was getting an ambulance bill after my mom's death.
no, but when they're
That was the
seniors,
highest.
don't they? Don't they
No, my
pay?
mom wasn't a senior at the time. But that was the
Uh,
high. That was the best. That was the most disrespectful thing. But I think with my dad, I didn't see a bill for him.
yeah, I think when they reach a certain age, I feel like again having like we listen on TikTok, we listen to everybody saying make sure you have some for a rainy day. Them not lie. Like I used to say I gotta live for the present. I gotta do what I gotta do, but like and what I'm saying to you, sometimes it's not a lot. You don't have to hold like a lot, but you do have to have a space where, yes, like you have to have some sort of savings, even if it's for self-care for yourself. Maybe the
Mhm.
person you're taking care of, you're able to manage their finances properly
Yeah.
and because you have access to it. But now for yourself, like those little extra funds, I feel like that is something important. But also as a caregiver, also know what your options are too. There's so many community organizations like Loft. All you got to hit is two one
Wait,
to
wait, wait. What's that one? You said it twice. I need to
organization.
know what the.
Loft is a community. I think it's a community service. So I was able to get I don't know what they're called, like a worker or something, and she was able
Mhm.
to tell me, okay, you know what, your dad needs a wheelchair, the government can pay 75%. So there's so
Oh, okay, okay. Yes, 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 yes.
and then there's also the home and community care support services. If you get a care
Mhm.
coordinator for wherever region you are, they'll be able to advise you on what are the options that are available. So there's things that are available to seniors, like even dental. There's so many things that could cut costs for them and also take a leave, like not add any extra burden for you in regards to, you and having to pay for all these extra things, right?
You're absolutely right because recently, and I've been this I'm not gonna get upset. I've been having this battle. I've been having this battle with my grandma to get her a walker, right?
Yeah.
Um, Finally I got it. And they said that, oh, I think it was 270. It was 270, but the government paid 75%. So I only had to pay like $80. I was like, I'll take it. I'll take it because it's for a better quality of life for her, right?
Yep.
And I so how did you hear about it? Because I don't think no one tells me about that. Like I would have never known unless how did I find out? I think it was a little bit of the social worker telling me about it. And then also I wasn't able to research, but I had someone else that like did the research. I'm like, oh, Camille, look at this, look at March of Dimes, look at this place, look at that place, and I'm like, I would have never known,
I don't
right?
think
So how
any of
did
us. I
like
only got I only got the option because I was in the hospital. And like, you know what I'm trying to say? And they were the ones that like, if I didn't go to the hospital, if he didn't, so pretty much if he didn't
yeah,
get admitted into the hospital, and then
yeah,
me being in communication with the social worker at the hospital,
hmm
I would have been paying for everything out of pocket because again, my dad only gets a certain amount per month. It's not
yeah,
a lot, right?
yeah.
So
It's
I don't.
annoying.
I do believe, in regards to the senior staying services, I do believe that they do have to push it out more because I think that people don't truly know what is available to them. However, again, just hit. I think 211 is is very helpful.
Ah, yes. There's also another thing. It's too
811.
far from me. The 811, and I think there was a time where I had a crisis. Like I was about to say, like, yo, I'm gonna call the crisis. I need to know this number, and I was able to see that, and I think that you're able to get counseling, hotline. They'll talk to people from 9 to 5. They'll do resources and stuff, and I think that's really important for people to know, like all the freaking time. The same way you want to talk about taxes, the same way you want to talk about budget. Can you talk about these things, please?
And I feel like at the same breath, we have to start asking questions too. Like
True,
we need
true,
to start
true,
asking
true.
people who are in this profession and no disrespect, so like sometimes your friend could be able to provide you, like again I was able to say, hey, these are the two organizations that helped me. They'll be able to direct
Mhm.
you whoever to help you for your region. But I
Yeah,
think sometimes we take advice from people who are not experts in the field, and
yeah.
we're kind of
I mean, it is easier asking folks that are have dealt with it,
Mhm.
also in the situation, because I actually got info from someone that's like dealing with it continuously, the hospital, um nurses, and just other caregivers, right? So I think, and trust me, I built a WhatsApp group like Caregivers Unite Vent because it's a lot, right? It's so annoying.
yeah,
Like,
that's a great idea to do, to be honest.
oh, because I was venting from November. I've been venting.
And it must be hard on you, especially like you have your business and now you have your father and your grandmother. And I'm,
Oh no, but there's someone helping, family. I, in a
yeah, we
way.
about that's something I also want to talk about too.
Hmm.
When you are a caregiver, we have
Yeah.
expectations from siblings. We
Mm.
have
Oh
expectations
yes, talk the
from close
things. Talk
family
the
members.
yes.
And what I'm gonna say is that you're gonna
Hmm.
have to learn how to let things go. If they're like, you have to know that someone can only operate on the capacity that they can. And once you get to that point, if that person only is available to help once a week or twice a week and they're not really pulling in their full weight, I would still say take once a week or twice a week, then nothing. Because what's going to happen is that your body's going to be fully exhausted, and then you're going to be
Mm,
angry, and you're going to hold full resentment. Because you may not talk to that person again after your parent passes away, and it may make you stronger. However, but at that present moment, when it comes to the caregiver, you like,
yeah.
again, I'm gonna say this again. It's not about you. It's not about how you feel. It's about what that person can do to help you help that person.
Mm.
Like, it's not people's the history of the family member. There's nothing, Cam. There's nothing you can do about it. There's not, and then everybody's gonna act like they did 10,000 things. They're gonna act like it. But what can you do, Charlie? What can you do? You have to take that time. Because what are you gonna do? Deal with that person
Oh
saying
man.
running off of, like, that steam. That steam's gonna go
Yeah.
down. You don't want that steam to go down. So if that person says, okay, I can come on Saturday. All right, I'm outside. Listen, I was outside, okay? And the way I was dancing, people always used to tell me, oh, Mel, how come you don't tell me when you're going out? Because I don't know when the option's going to happen. So if that option comes,
Hey. Hey.
I'm, I'm,
I'm out.
I'm shaking and shaking. I ain't got no beef.
Yo.
That's all I'm saying. And I
Yo.
think that,
Yeah.
we have to stop expecting people that are close to behave a certain way. And it's the history of how things go. People are selfish. People are selfish, and if you are dealing with a selfish person, that's what you're gonna get. And if you're a selfish person, I also don't
Mhm.
believe you should be a caregiver either, because you're always gonna think about your.
Wait. Jeez. That's a bar. Can you say it again, please? If you are a selfish person.
You cannot be a caregiver. You can help, but you cannot be a full-time caregiver. I don't care what anybody tells me, because it really is a selfless act, and you may never get gratitude for it, but you have to know within your heart that that's something that you've done, and you've done the best that you could do.
See how I spell it wrong?
See, I'm I'm hitting some points, huh? Hitting some points.
Boom, boom, boom. And we haven't even talked about mostly but I'm loving this conversation because I think there's so many caregivers that needs to hear this, and or folks that are supporting caregivers, in relationship with caregivers, working with caregivers, needs to hear this,
Yeah.
right? And God,
And, like, we can break this down into parts. This doesn't have to be the first our only
I
one.
know, because I'm loving this.
I'm hard to catch, but when you catch me, I'm in it. I'm all in it. Also, and another advice I would have for friends or family members who are supporting people who are caregivers: don't wait till the
Mhm,
parent dies to do the work. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, and I think that is going to be a harsh reality of someone who's a caregiver. After a couple of months, you are going to be
mhm,
forgotten. There's going to be certain friends that probably they're not going to be always asking how you're doing, how you're feeling. It could be sometimes a lonely place, right? What I will say is focus those on who focus on you, focus on
mm,
that. And I think once you focus on that, like, oh, like I had a coworker where he would, because my dad initially, before he went to long-term care, he was in transitional
mhm.
housing until he got the care, because they were just like,
Oh,
we are not letting you take care of your dad. Because when they realized I was single and I was taking care of him myself, they were just like, oh, hell no. Oh,
wait, Mel. Now you added more to this, eh?
yeah. They were like,
Because
no. Yeah. Yeah.
that that is such an amazing um acknowledgement that they had because they could have hold you.
Because they're like, oh, so you and your
No.
partner? Which partner? Which partner?
Mm-mm.
It's me, myself, and I. They're like, but who's feeding him? Who's making his meals? Like, he can't be alone. And I'm looking at them like, it's me. Like, who else? I can't, I'm not outside. Like, I'm here. I'm looking at him every day.
Golly,
Right.
golly. And
And
that's
then,
caregiver burnout too, right?
and then the same friends, like, you're not getting to know how you doing or sending you a look of food. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, they're not doing nothing. Right. Like, and then when they pass, then they want to come tell you all this shit. So I feel like,
You you know what? I'm on the fence with that because I feel like I've done both, and it's also, and I feel like I'm not gonna hold you. I feel for the last 4 years I've been struggling trying to be a great friend and to support. I'm trying my, but folks, I am trying my best.
I text, but the thing is, though, I think you don't have to do too much. And I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes it's not about, and I think what the problem is, and maybe that's what helps people from, dealing with people who are dealing with traumatic situations. They think avoiding because they can't give 100. But it's really
Mm,
not about that. A text
yeah.
message, hey,
Yeah.
how's your dad doing? Yo, how it will,
When I see those messages, I'm like, thank you for asking.
right? So like,
Golly.
yeah. So for me, I just focused on those who were there for me.
Hmm.
And something
And show
happens
up
in this
how.
day. Yeah,
Hmm?
like I have one friend, I know I wasn't there, like I was younger and her mom passed away and I wasn't a good friend. You know what I mean? I didn't really
The
think about
realization. You
I called
won't know until it happens.
exactly. And I had to apologize to her because I was like, yo, like, but at that time I was working the two jobs. So I was working 6 days a week. There it
Mm,
was I didn't have that space.
capacity.
No, I couldn't even get vacation time more or less. Like I had to fight
Mm,
for that. Like anyway, that's why I had to
yeah.
that part. Like
Golly.
anyway, because I was working part time. Like I had a full time
Mm,
part time for over 10 years.
golly. Hustling. Hustling.
Any,
Hustling.
but
So,
again, and I apologize to her because I realized I could have just even been sending messages. Like I didn't have
yeah.
to be physically present. I could have been there. And you know what? Instead of asking your friend, bringing them a bottle of liquor, that same money that you gave for that liquor, for that crown, give your friend the $50.
Yeah. Don't.
Because, because I'm just saying, when it's
Friends. Give
enjoyment,
food.
yes, food too. If it's
Food.
enjoyment,
Food.
food, just to make sure that that person, even a bubble tea, make them feel special. Because I
So,
tell you,
smoothie. You do not have an appetite. I was telling someone the other day, I was like, yo, I lost so much weight when my mom passed. I lost so much weight. Like,
yeah,
me was mother. But just making sure someone stays hydrated or has a smoothie or bubble tea. eh,
I'm
I
how
don't know about the food because I struggled to eat the first couple days. I ain't gonna hold you.
listen, I just feel like as friends and we want
Mm.
to build this community and
Yeah.
we want to help financially.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are things that we could do because we would
Mm.
have done that. If I wanted you to come to a party with me, I'd buy your ticket.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
your friend has been like, and I'm not saying it's your responsibility. I'm just saying that there's just
Yeah.
little things that we could do as a community to help each other and take a little ease off of somebody because when I was away in Ghana and I wasn't getting paid
Mm-hmm.
and I remember my last month like my male
Yeah.
friends came in and they came in strong like the money was running the money no
Nice. And
like it
and it's
was
good to have friends.
they never
That's,
have asked for it back. They've never we don't even talk about it. Like
yeah.
it is what it is.
That's amazing because like now I'm thinking like even like community wise, like instead of us thinking about um going out to party and stuff, I don't really party that much anymore. Like the last time I went out, I was like, I wish I was at home doing work.
No, the city has like a little lack of energy. We don't have It's
No,
dead.
it was just a pointless outing, right? Like when it's a pointless outing, I'm like,
Why
why
are
am I
you here?
here? Right? Like or I would have rathered us like stayed at someone's house, listen to music, make some jokes and stuff. And I think that's important. Even that aspect is that type of community. Like usually when I link up with you, it's like with my god family and stuff. And I love that time, right? And I have to learn how to do more. It's just life is lifing. Like the other day they had a family game night and I was like, I honestly have no energy to come. Like I should have gone because it would have helped me with like what's going on, but I was like, I ain't got it in me. I don't want to fake the funk. But if I'm faking the funk, I'll just ruin it for everyone, right? But I think building that community is so important as well. And like what's what's your sense on building community even with the just like home care? Like cuz eventually you're going to build a family with who's staying there and then also who's joining the forces, right? And then hopefully and we are going to support people. Oh.
In the Toronto downtown area, yes. So it's not a
Right?
physical space. It's not a
Oh, but it's sorry, yes.
so
It's
what
a
we push the PSWs to go into the home. I think what we're going to do to make people feel what
I
happened?
love PSWP because they're very important. I'm
Very
trying to get
important.
one for my grandma mostly.
Very important. I think so. Like this and here, like we do laundry. Just
Say less. Sign
and
me up.
we offer compassionate care if they just need somebody to just walk with them wherever they
Mm,
to the park or go to an event or whatever. If they need someone to go with their parent to the doctor's appointment, they'll be
yeah.
able to be there for them. But I feel like how we can create a family is connecting with the clients, like, and making sure
Mm,
that they don't feel like it's just a number and we're just using them for a check. So I feel like that in-home option and being able to talk to people, the franchise owner, and not
mm-hmm.
have like a random person coming in and speaking to them. They have that option to speak to any of us.
Nice. I
So
don't.
they can speak to me, they can speak to Collins, they can speak to my brother Kwamina. Like they have that option. There's one line and they have
Yeah.
that option to speak to somebody and just making them feel like, and we also have the option where there's a portal now and
Yeah.
they
Ooh.
actually read what the PSW has done for that day with the client if they notice any changes, etc. And then they can write a note to us and they can say, hey, you know what, we ain't feeling this worker and it's not going to be
Okay.
no wahala, we're going to change it,
Yeah.
like,
Question.
yeah.
Is it any race? Because I feel like.
L- anyways, anyways,
Any
anyways.
race? Okay.
But
Cause
we don't hire based on race, right?
got got it.
So
Got it.
if you
Got
speak Farsi, then we can find you a PSW who speaks Farsi, but
it. What?
we're not going to pick. You
Yeah.
can't tell me we don't want this color. We don't. We're not going to discriminate there in that
So
aspect.
if you meet a Korean, I can only say 감사합니다.
We can
That's the
be
only thing I can say.
that would be a requirement for you to get. That would be your casework. That would be your PSW. They would speak
Yeah.
Korean. If you wanted them to have certain certificates, we will make sure that it's
Mhm.
catered to that. If that
Ooh.
right. The only time that I feel like if you wanted a Korean PSW, but that PSW who comes all the time is sick, you may get somebody else and they may not
Yeah.
speak the language, but that's not something that would be permanent.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I I like the laundry service. I like that.
Well, we just help you with household support. So it's laundry, dishes, cleaning, like not like full hardcore cleaning because then we would have to get a cleaning service. However, but it's
Yeah.
just those like little household, services that people need. We'd be able to help
Yeah,
them with.
cuz cause okay, so the PSW that I was trying to get for my grandma, she's like, do them do laundry? Do they do this? Cause I already have someone to help clean with my grandma, right? So I'm like, man, I really wish there was someone that would come and do the laundry and stuff, or the compassion aspect, like that one's gold because I,
Right. I should have just put the link for the I'll
yeah,
send
yeah,
you
yeah, send me the link. So okay, so one thing about that, and even though caregivers have try to do their best with being there,
Mhm.
um, the client, so the person that needs the help, there is times where you're gonna feel lonely,
Yep.
right? Because the caregiver has a job or a family, their own life. They're not gonna be able to be there 24/7. So if you're able to have someone that is able to talk to them
Hmm.
even through that time when it's like they don't have someone ideally, that I think that's ideal because I just see that a lot. Like, yo, my dad love chat off, yo. Him
Yeah.
love chat. My grandma likes chatting. Like,
And how much time are we gonna hear the same story? Ah, every day, same story.
damn, if I kid you not, the other day I was with my grandma and my dad at the same time. Lord have mercy. I think my grandma asked my dad the same thing 5 to 6 times within like an hour, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be stressful. If this happens again, we're gonna have to leave because I could just see his. I just saw the like. I just see like it's getting bad. I was like, golly, Bob, right? Okay, so here's the link. So I'm gonna put it in the banner. So I have to send this to myself. I'm gonna send this to myself so I'm able to. So when this conversation does happen, I'll be in the chat sending this, or I'll even put it in the show notes. I'm putting this in the show notes. That's what
It's
I'll
cool.
do.
However you want to do it.
Um, yeah. So that like, man, I'm really loving this conversation. I know you're like, "Well, we could do parts," because there's so
No,
much. You know how many things you just added that I could just think about, like a single
yeah.
caregiver. I kid you not. Yo, the other day I was like, this is why it's important to have a a partnership in things.
I'm
Just
getting I'm getting different reviews. Some people are saying having a partner is amazing, and then some people are saying sometimes your partners too doesn't really know how to like
navigate.
navigate with you. That's the last conversation I had. But I personally just needed someone to cuddle. Honestly, it would just those moments where um, I was
Sorry.
going through what I was going through, and I
Mhm.
was realizing like a lot of the men that I talk to, because I don't really ask for money, I don't ask for much, but they weren't emotionally available for me. So being a person who doesn't like to put their depression or talk about their sadness, they're like to really realize that there's nobody like I can truly just call and say, yeah, okay, But I am lucky. I'm going to
Mhm.
say that even
Mhm.
though I don't have partners, I do have male friends who are able, and my brother, like I can't even be in full gratitude for them because I could, if I'm in a bad mood, they
Mhm.
know I'm in a bad mood because I'm sad because my mom is dying.
Mhm.
There's just the little things that they were doing that was like, okay, wow. Even when I went back home,
Yeah.
the treatment I was getting there, just
Hey.
for telling people like, hey, like, when because Ghana is it's social, it's about your status, about your money, and not nothing about anything else. So everybody want to know what you're doing, and every time I would say like, I'm here because my dad's not well. Like I had
Mhm.
people coming to check up on my dad.
Golly. That
Um,
that that's community.
Someone's giving me like a certificate
Hey.
for a massage every 2 weeks. Like there was
Yeah.
just little things where I was just like, I can't even complain. Like, but in regards to a partner, it would have been nice to have a partner so now it's even my dating as a caregiver mindset has changed too, right?
The
Like,
checklist.
yeah, and They're not.
That's oh, this is gonna be a conversation.
They're not.
I'm glad we talked about this because that woo. Um,
Yeah, it's
so
like
what?
I said, it's a lonely. Being a caregiver is a lonely place, and not having a partner, I think for me, that kept me like more motivated again was the walks. But I meditate.
Mm,
I've been meditating
mm,
since 2014, but meditation
golly,
became one of the most important things for me. Like
yeah.
I meditate and I have the gratitude journal that I use
Mm-hmm.
that um, that will help me bring up my mood to not feel like sad for not having.
Well, I'm here listening to slow jams, letting the slow jams make cry for me, and I'll be like, all right,
And
I'm
you know,
better.
even if you can't meditate, just put on that sleep affirmations that has something that
Yeah,
like there's different ones that you can just have it playing at night and just
yeah.
sleep, and that could affect your subconscious.
Let me try that.
It may not
We have
work.
to say this
Yes,
in
yeah,
the.
it may not work right away, but I
Yeah.
can guarantee you, I promise you, it will
Hmm.
work because you're going to start seeing there's going to be certain things about yourself that's
Yeah.
not going to be the same. I'm telling you, I used to beef with everybody. Like, I'll beef with you. Say something dumb, it's a wrap. I'm not talking to you. Now it's just like,
You're like, I'm in the zen. Peace and
we're
love.
we're human, yes, because
Yeah.
I'm still I still have that in me. But you definitely change. Like, especially for us being single, you got to do things that can kind of help your subconscious because it's just you're going to think about just being lonely and you know, it's not nice. It's not
It's
nice.
not even that. It's just like, man, I wish like what the day that I told my homie, pick up my homie. Sometimes you piss me off, but you came through. The night I was at the hospital, he came through and then he like gave me a snack and I was like, "Oh, see, sometimes you piss me off, but golly, when you come true, you come true." I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
see, that's sweet. Even a local
Right?
flower or some shit.
Right?
Sorry for
Like
saying
or
that.
food. No, no. So it's and a blanket. There's a blanket.
Yeah, and
I'm not
but
gonna remember if I
I
giving
think
back the blanket.
social media has got everything all mixed up. I think that unfortunately we all get put in this
Box.
bucket box of like, you know, girls who are materialistic and they need this and they need that. And I feel like the love and the emotion part is gone. Like everybody's just trying to
TV
guard,
rolling.
everyone's trying to guard their heart and they're trying to guard their feelings. And, you know, no one's showing that empathy. Like, you know, I remember during the process of my mom was passing, I was talking to somebody and
Mhm.
like no flower, no nothing. And it was just like after my mom passed, I was like, did you really think that our relationship was gonna stay the same? Like you think I'm gonna be like and
Where's my
and
scissors?
but this is where society is that no one even realizes that they're even treating you that way, right?
You're gone. You're dead to me. I wish. I wish. I wouldn't even. I No, you're good. I wouldn't even say anything. Mm-mm.
Yo, listen, I just yeah, I was like, you really think like I'm gonna hang out like really really? But it's okay. It's you know, we're talking about finances here. This is
Right? Golly.
off topic, but
And
yeah.
it's all good. It's all good. And before we wrap up, I always still ask this to my guests, and we have been talking about it throughout, but I like to say it. What are three things you wish you knew about money when you were growing up or
The life
younger?
I wish I knew about when I got the full-time job. As soon as I got a full-time job, getting another life insurance.
Mm.
Um, and with that life insurance, adding critical illness and you know the things that come with that. I should have done that. Um, understanding like taking the savings for a rainy day serious.
See, you want to know the funny thing is, everyone, every person I speak to talks about that.
Yeah, I should have took it a little more serious. And the third thing I wish I knew was
Hmm.
just because you work for an employer,
Hmm.
um, you can't rely on them. You really and truly have to figure out what you're going to do with your life. Like once you get a
Hmm.
job, you should start planning 10 years ahead.
Mm, 10,
Yeah.
15, 20 odd.
And also
It's
know
true,
that they can let you go at any time.
especially right now.
Right.
We're in such economy where nothing is granted, except some certain jobs,
You have great.
right? Right? But it's like what? Like I know people in tech, they've lost jobs. I know people like contracts, they've lost their job and stuff. It's really crucial to have a saving like a savings or a safety net for those rainy days because shit's gonna happen every day
Every day.
or every other day or week, month, whatever, you know? And then also the safety net, and then just I just want folks that are in their 20s and 30s to look at us and say, maybe I
We,
should start my savings.
can I add a bonus? Can I add a
Yes,
bonus?
yes.
Fix your credit. Fix your credit. I'm going to tell you from experience, you may not need your credit today. You may not need it today. You may not need it tomorrow, but there's going to be a time where you're going to need to get a line of credit for something. You're going to
Wow.
need that emergency something, even to get a surety for your company. You have to
Mm.
good credit. So please, 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 please,
Bonus.
please, like taking care of your credit is probably is the best thing. No one's saying that you have to do 10,000 things, but just maintaining your payments and just keeping it at that level where it's sufficient. Because
Yeah.
again, like we were talking about, if you
Hmm.
don't have the money for an emergency like that, you
Hmm.
could be able to get options like this when the emergency happens.
Yeah.
That's
And then
all.
be able to, and then be able to bring it back. You know,
That's
I
it.
don't think maybe it was my parents, because there's times they would have like they have the money saved up, and like, no, some I don't want to use my money I save up. I don't want to use that. I was like, with the interest, like golly, like can we just calm down? But I guess it's like with being in North America, we're so used to the credit. But yes, it is important, and if your credit's mashed up, please try to fix it because
That's
God
all.
knows what's gonna happen in the next couple years. Just try to fix it.
Please. Because
Slowly and surely wins the race, right?
right, like no one's saying you have to be at the highest number, but it's sufficient enough that if there was an emergency and you needed some finances, you'd be able to
Mhm.
do it. And again, like I'm saying, even for the business, to have a surety, to get a surety bond, you know,
Yeah.
that's something
Ah,
they don't tell you. You have to have okay credit. And if you don't, you got to go through a whole wahala.
and then there's what is it? A lenders, B lenders, C, D, E, F,
Girl,
G.
girl. So again,
Yeah.
lifing for everyone, but you never know what's gonna happen in the future. So just always try to have a little prep. I'm not saying not to fear monger anybody, but be adaptable. That's all.
It should be happening, and I don't know. We've been it's been 5 years since we've been locked down, right?
Yeah.
Like what? It was. I was remembering like it was yesterday, March 13th, where it just shut down. Like, yo, we knew this is not our first rodeo. 20 March 2020, this happened. Before that, I think it was 2008 where it happened, and then 2000 and stuff. It's gonna happen again, so be prepared,
Yeah.
right? But we also want to make sure that our community keeps us afloat and that our clients or your clients are able to have the special care and things, right? Just like
Yes.
a family.
Right?
You like it there?
That's how you said it. They should be using you for the commercials.
Boom. Have my I hate my voice. I actually I absolutely hate my voice, but it can go on. It can go on.
Um,
And Mel, how can people contact you or stay connected and things?
you can connect with me on LinkedIn.
See what I did?
Melizia Mensa. That's my LinkedIn. I guess she's gonna have the link.
Yeah, I'm gonna put in the show notes.
Okay, perfect. And then you can connect with
Mm.
me on Instagram at MELBLK Rose. And also you can, go on our website. I guess you can, because that's a long,
Ooh.
on me. Go to our website and you can definitely contact us at justlikeFamily.ca
Hmm.
/downtown/Toronto east. Right?
Awesome. I know who I'm gonna connect. And no, like seriously, like Mel, I appreciate you so much because um as a caregiver and like being full pledged into it, like at a different level this time around, has opened my eyes. And for all the other folks that are caregivers or lost a parent and dealing with that right now and trying to just figure out life and handle that, my heart goes off out to y'all. Like every time I hear another situation, I just damn, now you know
Right?
how it feels. And I hate that we
Yeah.
have to experience this hurt, but I guess it's life, right? And I really appreciate you coming out and bringing gems like let the ego out at the door and just having so many streams of income and just knowing that a 9 to 5 is not the only way of having income or different income streams.
Mhm.
I'm definitely proud of you, sis. Like, bam, 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 bam. And is there anything else you want to tell the folks before we head out?
No, actually, I just want to say thank you for having me. And I honestly think that we could do another version of this and we can break it down and have a conversation and maybe even one day even just do like do have little Zoom sessions or even having in-person sessions connecting
Yes,
finance with caregiving in our community. That could be something we could actually do.
I think that's an amazing idea. That type of collaboration is ideal. We'll
Yeah.
talk about it offline because I
Yes.
think that's an amazing idea because it's needed. Financial literacy,
Yeah.
caregiving, it intertwines,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you for having me and
No problem. All right, folks, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, and just build a community and be just like a family. Ah,
boom.
ah, boom, bam, bam.
I just wanna be free with my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. I just wanna be free. I just wanna be free.